Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Earlier this year, the Minister of Transportation's hand-picked Ferries Board gave themselves a hefty 60% pay raise and a big boost to their stipends, where the Minister's own friends got in on the deal. Under this Minister's watch, the BC Ferry Services Board has increased from 8 to 16 members. Directors' pay has shot up 140% from $20,000 to $48,000, and their stipends have shot up to $1,500 from $1,000. Looking back at the board minutes, they show these decisions have happened over the years in a series of 3-, 4-, and 5-minute meetings. 5-minute meetings, Honourable Speaker. Can the Minister of Transportation explain why his hand-picked board should get $1,500 to meet for 5 minutes about their own pay while ferry users are being hit with ever-increasing fares?
Well, first of all, I think it would be helpful if the member actually got his information right for once. It's not a hand-picked board by this government, and the member knows that. Well, there's apparently laughing on the other side, so they forget that it's communities that put forward names, it's Labour that puts forward names, but nevertheless, I'll put that aside for a moment. The fact of the matter is the member's confused. He's confusing the work of the BC Ferry Authority and the work of the BC Ferry Corporation Board. Most members of the board serve on both of those boards. They may handle the information on...
Members.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is a challenge for the members opposite. I'll try and walk them through corporate governance if they'd like. I'm happy to take a few minutes on that, Mr. Speaker. The fact, and I realize that there's not a lot of corporate experience on the other side, so I'll go slow here. The fact of the matter is, Mr. Speaker, that the members that sit on the authority may only have a few-minute meetings because they're talking about strategic direction. Then they move to the Ferry Corporation Board, which oversees all of the decisions of the board. That takes the better part of a day, Mr. Speaker.
The theme is very evident here. It's another do-nothing minister who is very confused also about the boards that he has created. Now, in February 2004, the BC Ferries Authority Board met for 6 minutes at the Pan Pacific Hotel in Vancouver. Eight of the 9 directors were there. They each got $1,000 for those 6 minutes. That's just one of the examples, one of the many examples, Honourable Speaker. Now, there are even more directors making thousands more with even bigger stipends. Taxpayers and ferry users are shelling out thousands of dollars while fares keep going up. This is a significant amount of money when communities up and down the coast are hurting. When will the minister finally get involved and put an end to this wasteful use of taxpayer money?
So, I'll try and be more helpful and clarify things for the member, because obviously the member does not understand what I said the first time. For the benefit of the member, the reason why they had an 8-minute meeting is because they're dealing with governance issues, and there were no governance issues necessary to spend more than 8 minutes on. And so the members should know that they then immediately move into the board issues dealing with the Ferry Corporation Board. And that is all of the issues dealing with the Ferry Corporation: procurement, building new ships, investing in terminals, as, by the way, they have over the last 7 years, Mr. Speaker, almost $1 billion of new investment to make up for the total mismanagement and lack of investment under that NDP government.
And I'd like to clarify this for the minister, that I would assume that the Governance Committee would look after the governance issues that he was referring to, and not the Board of Directors. So, Honourable Speaker, let's review. Under this minister, the number of directors on BC Ferry Services has increased 100%. The stipend for meetings has increased 50%. Their salaries have shot up 140%. And thousands and thousands of dollars for meetings like the one at the Kingfisher Oceanside Resort and Spa. That meeting at this Oceanside Resort and Spa was 4 minutes long. 4 minutes long. And the only thing on the agenda was setting the date for the annual general meeting. So can the minister please explain when huge raises and cushy appointments for his friends become more important than affordable fares?
Well, you know, I think the member has to think about this for a second. I mean, does the member really believe that they went to the Kingfisher and had a 4-minute meeting? I mean, does that, even in the member's bizarre world, does that actually make any sense to the member? Of course that's not the case, member. Of course that's not the case. Their meetings generally take the better part of a day, Mr. Speaker. The fact of the matter is there's two issues they deal with, those regarding the Ferry Authority and those regarding the actual board itself and oversight of the Ferry Corporation. I know that's difficult for the member to understand, but that's just the way it is. But what is really important here, Mr. Speaker, is to recognize something. And that is that sadly we had a ferry corporation we inherited where the average age of the vessels was 42 years old. There had been essentially so much political mismanagement the ferry corporation was essentially bankrupt when we took it over in 2001. Today they've got a $2.5 billion capital program underway. All the vessels are being replaced. All of the terminals have been extensively upgraded, and we've got labour peace, and we've got a ferry corporation that the public can finally have reliable service in the province of British Columbia.
So the meeting started at 10:31 p.m. It ended at 10:35 p.m. 4 minutes. Well, and I admittedly, it's at night, so maybe that's worth more for a meeting. But 4 minutes, $1,500. That's $375 a minute, Honourable Speaker, for this meeting. They meet for 4 minutes, they approve their own wages, and they get $1,500. Let's hope that the TransLink board doesn't hear about this one, or they're going to be wanting to jack up their money. My question is through to the Minister, Honourable Speaker. Does the Minister of Transportation really think his friends are worth $375 a minute?
I'll try and explain this to the member once again. She's not getting it, apparently. The member, again, thinks that the board members have met for 5 minutes and that was all they did. That's incorrect, actually, Mr. Speaker. And the member shouldn't mislead the House nor the public of BC by suggesting that. The fact of the matter is these board members that serve on the authority board, listen, member, you might learn something. These members that serve on the authority board also serve on the Ferry Corporation board. It's two boards, okay? They have a meeting of the authority board that may take only 4 or 5 minutes because it deals with governance issues. If they don't have issues of governance to deal with, the meeting ends. They then move on to the other meeting business, which is the Ferry Corporation itself, which takes often the better part of the day.
Just take your seat for a second. Members. Continue, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. They do not receive a per diem for serving on each board. They get a per diem for the same work they do on both boards, Mr. Speaker. So for the member to try and suggest that there's $1,500 for 5 minutes work is simply factually wrong. I'm saying it to her in this House as clearly as I could possibly explain it. Now, having said that, Mr. Speaker, I am on record and the government is on record of saying that the recent increases that were passed and approved by an independent report I thought were too generous, and I felt that the board should review them. I'm still of the same opinion, Mr. Speaker.
Let's presume just for a moment that we accept the minister's explanation that at 10:35 p.m. after their 4-minute meeting, the board went on to have another extended meeting. Oh. So let's just presume we accept that. Yeah, maybe till midnight. Who knows? But it'll be interesting to see what the cost was for that. But Honourable Speaker, this past February, the board met for 20 minutes by phone. Not even in person, didn't go anywhere, met by phone, and for that they got $750 each for their phone meeting. Again, let's hope that TransLink doesn't hear about this, or we're going to see those costs go sky high for them, because they don't get $750 every time they make a phone call. But my question through to the minister is, does he think that this is an appropriate expenditure of money, this gross waste of meeting money, when taxpayers in this province are paying that and ferry users are being slammed every single day with higher fares? Does he think that this is an appropriate expenditure of taxpayers' dollars?
Well, a little bit of a history lesson for the NDP, and I know they don't like history lessons, but there was a reason why there was recommendations, including from a former Auditor General and others, that suggested we make the BC Ferries Board independent of government. And the reason they wanted it independent of government is because under the NDP for 10 years they interfered with the corporation to such an extent that the corporation was effectively bankrupted with over $1 billion worth of debt and an average fleet age of 42 years old. It was a disaster, and what has been done is to set up an independent structure, independent of government, not handpicked by government, independent of government, with names that are put forward by communities, by Labour, to form a board that acts in the best interest not of government, not of the NDP, but of the 20 million trips a year and the passengers that use that system. And Mr. Speaker, in terms of the amounts that they pay themselves, I've been on the record of saying that the increase that they put through I thought was inappropriate, thought it was wrong, I thought they should review it. But we do not and we will not be interfering with the day-to-day oversight of BC Ferry Corporation.